Thank you for joining me today for counting down the top 10 moths that are in video games. Yes, this is Mothim. He is a Pokemon, and I say he because he can only be a male Pokemon. Mothim is the only male Pokemon, and he is a moth. He's the first. Get this. He's the first of 4 Pokemoths from Pokemoth. He's the first. The next one is Venemoth. This is the second Pokemon moth from Pokemon in this list. This is Venemoth. He was also in the animes, and he's also, of course, in the trading card TCG game, where you can use his moves. This is Pinocchio. This isn't Pokemon. This is Pinocchio-mon, and he is swatting away, just as Jiminy Cricket from Pinocchio, and he's swatting away flies away from this candle. Moths. And these are the moths from that game, Super Nintendo and also Sega Genesis. The Sega Genesis version is the better version. This next one is a moth, and we all know it's Mothra. That's right, Mothra versus fighting Godzilla. Mothra's in all these different games, all the way dating back to the classic Nintendo games and even older computer games. This is Mothra. It's a big giant moth, and it's in most of the Godzilla games. This is Frost Moth, and it's also in Pokemon card games and in the video games, of course, because it's a Pokemon introduced from probably like Generation Sword and Shield. And Frostmoth is so cool because it's an ice type Pokemon that even people want to look like a Frostmoth. That was the third moth Pokemon. This is the fourth and final moth Pokemon that is in the top 10, and it's distox. And it's a toxic type of dusty moth that has even Meowth going buggy. This is from Half-Life the video game. In certain parts of the Half-Life video game, if you look at the lights, there are little moths flying around the light, just like moths do in normal real life. This is Batman, the video game, by Sunsoft. And this is a killer moth. He is a criminal, and he is a moth man. I believe he's the only moth man on this list. He's the killer moth, and even though he is half man, he's still half moth. And he has like moth wings, and he shoots like moth laser beams. This next Animal Crossing has a whole list of moths. That's right. It has. What'd you catch there? That's probably the Atlas moth. That's right. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that that's the Atlas moth. This is the Luna moth, and everyone knows that too. And you can catch this is the oak silk moth that you can catch in the season of summer at the time of night. There's probably other moths in that game. This is Dragon Adventures for the Roblox, and it has the best moths because they're dragon moths. They're half dragons, half moths. What could be better than mostly moth? Having it be a moth and a dragon all at once. It even has the moth antenna and cool colors like moths should have and do have. Thank you for joining me for counting down the top 10 moths in a video game.